This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1177, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And from LA, you know from Social Club Misfits, it's Marty.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Debut solo artist, Mr. Flop Era himself.
Excited,
Marty.
Man. Very pumped about it.
Yeah, man. How's the reaction been out in the wild?
Pretty bad. Out the gate. Terrible reviews. But, you know, we're going to keep moving forward. Thank you, Jesus.
I think the best review that I saw, first of all, we didn't establish it. Marty just released his solo debut album, and it's called The Flop Era Volume 1. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's great. It's really great.
Yeah, man. I affirm that.
But I did see a comment that, Marty, you also saw because you put it in the group chat, but I saw it before you did. And the person said, why can't you just go back to rapping with NF?
Yeah, that was a bad one. There's another one that I got that was like really, really bad, where it was like this paragraph where a guy goes, it was something like, it amazes me how much bullying happens in the comments sometimes, but I think you deserve it. It was something like that.
Oh my goodness.
It was something like, but I think it was one of my boys like trolling me, but people were like, oh, that's so mean. But I thought it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
But Marty, are you the type where comments affect you? Not
at all. Not at all.
I'm in the same. I'm in the same boat. I've hard it's pure amusement for me at this point, you know. But
here's the comment. Read it. I watched a few videos, and I know social media can be cruel, and some people say some really mean things. But after going through a couple of your videos, I could say this guy really deserves it.
Okay, but you said that was your friend messing with you, right?
But it's just like the element of like bad stuff. I just think it's like everyone likes to troll me like this album sucks, but it's like I don't know why guys are so mean to each other. It's just like an odd thing where like guys are just really rude and evil to each other. Like, you suck. I love you, bro. Like, I love you, but you suck. Like,
it's just,
I feel like in a way, though, you kind of set yourself up for this because you did call it your flop era. So it's like, it's almost, I don't want to say self-fulfilling prophecy, but maybe in hindsight, next one can be like your winning era. You know?
No, this is volume 1. This is
I have volume 2 coming out. I have to finish it tomorrow.
You got to finish the flop. Got it.
Emily, do you not know his self-deprecating humor? He thinks it's funny to say.
It's a millennial thing.
And I do think maybe Emily, there is like a gender thing to it. I think a lot of guys are just incapable of saying nice things to other guys. It's
true.
It's like, I think I've mentioned it. One of my favorite lines in Always Sunny is when Dennis and Matt go out for a fancy roommate dinner to celebrate their anniversary of being roommates. And they're bickering as usual. And Mac says to Dennis, like, can you just say one nice thing about me? Just one nice thing. That's all you say is negative. And Dennis looks at him. He goes, fine. Your hair looks very small. and Mac is like, thank you. Thank you. Was that so hard? Like, that's all he can muster. I feel like there are a lot of guys like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a great show in store for you today. Coming up, we talked to Hulvey. He's got a new project out. You don't miss that. At the end of the show, we have part 2 of your feedback. If you listened to last week's Friday episode, we got talking. We asked you about like times from your childhood where you were playing and things went crazy or went out of control, and your parents didn't find out. You guys did not disappoint with your stories. And so we just halfway through it, we're just like, we got to do part 2 of this. And more have come in. So you don't want to miss that. It's hilarious. You guys got into a lot of trouble when you were kids. All right, but stay tuned right now. Up next, it's Relevant Buzz. You're listening to Beach Bunny. The song is Vertigo. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. Mercy Ships provides free, life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. They do all this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time and talents. Surgeons, stewards, nurses, engineers, and more make the world a better place. Your donation today provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. All gifts are matched, so please donate today at mercyships.org/relevant. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Tim Tebow's book, Look Again. Have you ever wondered what would change if you truly believed you were infinitely valuable to God? In his New York Times bestselling book, Look Again, Tim Tebow reveals the powerful truth that when we learn to see the image of God in every person, including those we struggle to love, everything changes. Tebow shares incredible stories from his work with people the world often overlooks, and it will challenge you to stand up to the lies, rediscover the worth that everyone has, and impact the world for good. Find Look Again by Tim Tebow, available now wherever books are sold. Okay, it's time for Relevant Buzz. Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily.
Okay, first thing I want to talk about is Robert Madu, the pastor of Social Dallas, because he had a fun surprise cameo in the #2 show on Netflix this week. You guys care to guess which show it was?
Love is Blind UK?
I know what it is. It's the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders docuseries.
Is it cake?
Is it cake? And they cut into Robert Madu. No, it's not cake. That's a pastor.
Oh my gosh, it's actually Robert Madu. It's a megachurch pastor. Get some help in here.
Love is a spectrum. Love on the Spectrum. Is it that one?
I wish it was all of those shows. No, Cameron was right. It is the docuseries about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. It's called America's Sweethearts. The show follows the squad from like the audition process all the way through the NFL. There used to be a show called, I think, Making the Team that was on like CMT about this. This one is so much better. If you watch that show or if you didn't, this one you really get to like know the girls and see more of like their personal stories, like where they've come from, why they want to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, things like that. But this is where Robert Madu comes in because several of the girls are really outspoken Christians, and a lot of them attend Social Dallas. So in the 4th episode, Robert and his wife Taylor are actually talking to some of the girls before a service, just about how they came to church, why they're there, kind of what their purpose is and stuff. And so we actually want to play that clip of them talking here.
So how did y'all first hear about Social start coming?
Oh my goodness. My first time, a veteran, I was a rookie at the time back in 2021. I came to my first service in October 2021, and I never have gotten so emotional at a church and just like felt accepted. And I've been coming ever since.
Amazing.
Yes, I found Social through DCC.
So you found community here, found family,
Yeah.
found your people?
I moved here 2020 during the pandemic. It was August. I didn't know a soul in Texas.
Man.
I made the team. I had 2 weeks to move here. Wow. Yep. Gave up college and just was like, okay, here I am.
That's
now
God.
what? Signed a lease to an apartment I'd never seen and was like, we're doing this thing. Yeah, so
True
it's,
step of faith.
here I am 4 years later. Yeah, now what? No. Yeah. Just like, now what do I do with my life, But giving it to God. I don't need to know yet.
Maybe you don't need another sermon. Maybe you don't need another song. Maybe you don't need another podcast. Maybe you need a vision. A vision for your life. A vision that is bigger than you.
And then after this conversation, the show uses a clip of Robert's sermon from their Vision Sunday service. And the whole message is that God loves Dallas, right? He even makes a joke specifically that God loves the Dallas Cowboys, which if you are in the Dallas area, you've heard that message before. But he talks about having...
That is very disputable, by the way. But one, by the behavior of their owner, I don't know, stat honoring, and 2, by their playoff record, which does not show favoritism. If anything, I think they've won one playoff game.
Maybe God loves the Texans a little bit more. I don't know.
Watch the replay of Tony Romo handling an extra point kick and fumbling their one chance for a playoff win about 10 years ago. And you tell me that God loves this team.
Jesse, are you prepared for the entirety of the Dallas Cowboy fandom to
I was going to say, tell you that. Yeah.
come
This is
after you
nothing-
right now?
No,
You don't care
because
about
this is
negative
nothing-
comments.
One, I don't care about negative comments, and two, they're like, no, this is everything he's saying is absolutely true. There's not one Cowboy fan that's like, no, we are cursed. We cannot win in the playoffs. So bring it, Dallas fans.
What's crazy about this docuseries, I watch a lot of docuseries. I watch all the, Formula One, the golfing one, like all these sports I don't actually care about, but these human interest things are super good. This docuseries was interesting because it was dripping with Jesus. It was, it was an interesting portrayal of, I would say, honestly, it's probably the most positive portrayal of normal Christians on mainstream television.
Wow.
Because they didn't make the Christians weird. Yeah. I mean, literally, they're just showing their Bible studies. They're following them to church. They're talking about their faith, how it affects their relationships and getting through like all these things and like their dreams, their purpose. Like, I'm just going like, what? Like, it's crazy. Jesus is all over this docuseries. It's really interesting.
That's cool.
It is really cool too. Cause I mean, a few weeks ago we were just talking about the other Netflix documentary talking about weird church dance cults. And obviously that was like, an extreme. And so like the fact, like you said, like this is the Christianity that is more normal to us and that like we see in our own lives. And so I don't know, it was really refreshing to kind of see that. Yeah. Like you said on TV.
Ironically, the other, I feel like, relatively genuine portrayal of, kind of at least a Christian experience was in quarterbacks too. When Kirk Cousins, like you see him like saying, prayers with his kids before, they go to bed at night and, what sort of like a natural part of his life, at least as it was portrayed, that faith played. Ironically, also sort of in the NFL universes of Netflix docuseries.
Also, just be forewarned, if you choose to tune into that one, it follows other quarterbacks, and there is more profanity. You will hear more profanity in this docuseries than in any R-rated film ever made. Yeah,
wow, it's quite a bit. There's a lot of locker room talk. But I will say this: a lot of locker room scenes. So kind of.
That's funny.
All right. Okay, moving on. Congrats to Robert Madu on his first cameo on Netflix. But now we actually
Is It Cake?
Hopefully the next one is It Cake or
he just starts showing up. He shows up at all the popular franchises.
Every single like little he's in the back. Why is he Bridgerton right now? Why is he dressed up like that in the back?
Why is he with this team of friend group yoga instructors competing on floor's lava with them? Like, this just doesn't. I don't understand. But he's on the team.
Why is he on the glass blowing competition show? I didn't know he could do glass blowing.
Why is he cooking with Bobby Flay? How is this? That's a funny like ongoing joke. It's like, well, Robert Madu is in this as well. So
the Robert Madu cinematic universe. I fully support it.
We should start building it out, like starting this like lore of Robert Madu and all these things.
That goes through Dallas, like he is the spiritual mentor for it. So
I love that.
The barbecue show for sure.
I do like the idea of just like Netflix crossover like reality show contestants. I know they do it. They dabble with that in like the dating shows, but I do want to see like a baker who is really good at making fondant look like natural grain wood, compete with no training with something dangerous like glass blowing. Like, the first episode, they just inhale a tremendous amount of molten hot sand. Let's just put someone untrained on these shows and see what happens.
I love it.
And that person could be Robert Madu. I think that's But
this goes to your Olympic theory as well, that the Olympics would be far more interesting if you had all the world-class athletes, but then you had a normal person on the race as well, so we could see the contrast of how amazing these athletes are. Because we don't
One of the best ideas I've ever heard.
It really, even if it was like pre-Olympics, it was just like, all right, this is just like
the training ones. Like right now, the trials that are
That's what I'm saying. Like, just in America, we're like, hey, listen, no one's watching. No one's watching this. Okay. Like I was flipping through and I was desperate. It is like a desert time for sports content right now. Like I watch Stanley Cup and I don't watch any hockey just because there's nothing on right now. And there was like all these Olympic trials. Like there's no way I'm watching, but you give me one just javelin thrower off the street. That's like, all right, man, you and look, if there's a freak thing and you have some weird like rookie of the year ability that we don't know about, you could make the Olympic team.
It's like the U.S. Open where amateurs can play against the professionals.
Yes,
I love that idea.
An open. I love it.
I love in all sports and open. I love that idea.
Yeah.
So we're doing it in sports and we're doing it in Netflix.
Yes.
We're putting Robert Madu
a lot of competition
as the
shows.
Unqualified person on all these competition reality shows.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
Including singing shows like The Voice. Where it's like,
He's got to be in that too.
He's got to be in anything and everything. Yeah. Yeah.
all of a sudden,
Little road
he's,
rules, real world action going on versus each other's situation.
all of a sudden he's singing a very, very complicated rendition of a 90s pop song for Blake Shelton. Like, okay, I'm just doing this, I guess. Here we go.
I feel like he'd be game. I don't know him, but I feel like he'd be game. We can figure it
he
out.
seemed really cool on this cheerleader show.
Yeah.
Like super, good preacher.
Yeah.
Cool
yeah.
guy. All right.
He's got it going. All right. Unfortunately, though, we do have to talk about a different Dallas-based pastor named Robert. And this is one that I really don't want to talk about because it makes me sick to my stomach. But we got to talk about Robert Morris. For those who don't know, he was the pastor at Gateway Church in Dallas, which is a massive mega church in Dallas. There's about roughly, I think, 100,000 people in attendance each week across multiple campuses. It's like the 9th biggest church in the nation. It's huge. And last week, Robert Morris resigned from the church just days after allegations came out that he had molested a 12-year-old girl in the 1980s.
But they weren't allegations, right? I mean, they were. This is confirmed. This is.
He's never publicly said her age.
Yes.
She's bringing out the age she was when it happened. So technically, it is an allegation.
I'm not saying
he hasn't responded. He just resigned.
Yeah.
He just went away.
Yeah. He did. So, okay, let me back up and kind of give some context and then we can talk about what's been said and what's been done. So Cindy Clemishire, who's now 54, posted a blog on the Wartburg Watch on June 14th detailing the abuse that she endured when she was 12 years old and Robert Morris was 21. Robert was living with her family at the time. He was in ministry. And she said the abuse continued for years. She details a lot of what happened. Again, at the time, right now, we do technically have to say allegation because there is an ongoing investigation. But Morris initially released a statement acknowledging that he did have inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady, but he did not specify the age, like we said. And he did say that when it was brought to light in 1987, he repented, he sought counseling, and then he returned to ministry after 2 years with the support of Cindy's father. And he has spoken about this extramarital relationship with the young lady, which is what he's always said before, because the Gateway elder boards, they said that they knew of it, but they were not aware that it was actually abuse of a child. And so once these new details came to light, like I said, within days, they announced that he had resigned. And the elders announced that they would be hiring a third-party firm to conduct an investigation into what happened in the 1980s. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Wow. We heard about this? We've covered it. I mean, like it's getting dropped from Christian television and things like that. What's happening now? Has it changed at all, or is there any updates?
So now, like I said, there's still an investigation going on, but there's also been some protests at the church. People who have said that there are actually more sexual abuse allegations that have happened at Gateway, not necessarily with Robert, with other spiritual leaders. And so that right now it's, again, allegations, but there is investigations going on to determine kind of just how widespread this abuse is. But, this is really difficult news to process, obviously. And a lot of leaders from throughout the church that we really look up to have expressed their frustration. And there's one that I think really just I really want to highlight, and that's Rick Warren. He wrote on Twitter something that I'm just going to read in full because I think it needs to be heard. He said, "I'm angry and disgusted to hear Robert Morris's sexual abuse of a child and heartbroken for Cindy Clemishire. To sexually use a 12-year-old child, then continue it for years is not merely an inappropriate relationship. It's a crime. Sexual child abuse is an evil punishable by law. One can't just confess when caught and move on with no consequences. For the integrity of Christ's body, God insists expel the wicked person out of your church. Perpetrators are to be publicly fired, not allowed to resign. Child abuse still enrages Jesus, and until the church realizes the soul-destroying trauma of sexual abuse, the pattern will continue."
Yeah. Wow. Rick, what caught our eye about that quote from Rick is that he is grandpa mentor. He's uniter, not a divider. Yeah. He speaks out against justice. He speaks out, injustice. He fights where we need to fight. But normally, I can't recall him being so pointed with criticism of a faith leader, another Christian leader. So, It was bold, and frankly, I don't see a lot of Christian leaders.
Yeah, I've never heard that before from a Christian leader.
Yeah, like talking about like this is criminal and like this isn't enough.
Well, it's clear. Yeah, this is clearly warranted here. You know what I mean? Like, you know, again, it's not just some sort of moral failing. This is criminal behavior. Right. You know, of you know, I think the worst degree.
Right. Agreed.
Right. So, like I said, we're keeping our eye on it and just making sure that, you know, we'll keep you updated. Okay, but moving on, last thing I want to talk about is a new study from the Church of England. So they did a review on the trust and trustworthiness within the Church of England to explore really just how to repair and preserve trust in the church, you know, the organizations and structures, because they've definitely found that distrust is pretty pervasive in the church. You know, there's, like we just mentioned with Robert Morris, there's been issues with sexual abuse and racism in the church. But one thing that really caught our eye from this review is that there's also been there's been a lot of distrust because of social media use. So the study found that social media is immensely destructive to the trust and trustworthiness of the church, essentially because people are sharing their thoughts about local church leaders online, and that's having a really big impact on how people, maybe even outside of the church, view what's going on. And so it's just causing a lot of distrust. And I really appreciate that the Church of England took the time to really analyze what's going on and trying to figure out how they can fix this problem, because obviously it's a big issue.
I think this is interesting to me because is this the problem or is this the symptom of a problem? Is just because people are empowered to more efficiently express their issues, is that the problem, or is the problem that they have issues that they need to express? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
it's almost like now everybody has a voice, so maybe the church can't control the narrative. Maybe it's a good thing.
That's my point. Is like, is it the medium or the message here? Right? Like, are we blaming? You know, it's like the Gutenberg press. It's like, well, that's the problem. You know, it's like, or that's the reason that this message being spread. It's like, no, the message is being spread because there's a means to spread it. You know, like, I guess, again, without kind of knowing specifically what some of these criticisms are, I guess it's hard to say, but it seems like, again, is this the symptom or is this a symptom of a larger disease here? You know,
the study does actually acknowledge, or it sort of acknowledges that, because, you know, they say like they're not necessarily saying like you can't critique things, or, you know, if you do have complaints, like they recognize that this is a place to sort of air that out. But their argument is social media may not necessarily be the best place to air out that argument, because, you know, say I have an issue with my local pastor and I just go to Twitter to complain about it, and then, you know, that tweet gets viral or whatever. Well, I actually haven't had a conversation with that pastor. And so again, depending on what my complaint is, like maybe I should have gone to my pastor first and talked with him about what I'm frustrated with him about, instead of going online. And so they're arguing that because that's kind of the go-to now, is where people just make these blanket statements of like, well, my pastor is a terrible person because they said this one thing on Sunday. It's like, that's actually causing a lot more harm than the, like, even if you think you're trying to be constructive and, you know, you feel called to call this out, whatever, things are a lot more complex than they often are online.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's certainly like a, you know, biblical model for expressing sort of concern. But I also think in an era where a lot of like sermons are like broadcast online, a lot of people feel like, well, if you're putting it out there publicly, I feel like I could publicly respond. I do think there's some nuances to it too, where, you know, again, like, I'm not saying you should, you know, publicly trash people on social media, but I do think there also is some nuances when it comes to expression in the era of the internet and social media, you know?
Yeah, I also think, like, side note, it's how many times have you, like, for me at least, how many times have I attended a church where any type of criticism was even welcomed, or any type of suggestion was accepted? It's very hard to find a church that could take it and not take it personal. And so, you know, I luckily I have men of God in my life and churches that I'm connected to where a lot of those they've kind of accepted that. But I've seen in other churches where, you know, in my first church I ever went to, you know, the pastor was having an affair and he was cheating on his wife, stealing money. As soon as he got called out, he ended up kicking everybody out who called him out. And I was a part of that group. And so, and church ended up falling apart 2 weeks later and everything got exposed. But you bring it up to a pastor and you hope, but there's so much pride that goes into being a pastor that it's like, how dare you tell me this? Like, I'm doing my best. I built this whole church. I take it so personal. And it's, I think the church is finally getting to a place where, there's in every other world and every other, I forgot the word I'm looking for, but in every other business model, it's accepted. But why is it not accepted in the church? Is it because we think people are just being angry about it? I don't know. But I mean, look at Chipotle right now. They're getting crapped on by everybody. And that's social media. Yeah. We should be able to talk and where else can we voice our opinion?
How else are we supposed to increase our carnitas portions? How else?
Having said that, I went yesterday and they piled it on. I was like, wow.
It is an apology
you guys
tour.
are really afraid of getting apology tours the full effect.
I think they handled it great. Like, honestly, because it was a thing. If y'all didn't follow along, listeners, social media started to point out with like TikTok videos, like how bad the portions had gotten, how small they'd gotten at Chipotle. So then it became out that there was an internal memo at Chipotle saying, if you see somebody in line with their phone out, give them a bigger portion so they don't post it online. And so then like that became the thing that now social media.
That's amazing.
And so like if you take your phone to social media, the Chipotle social media team started posting memes of people with big, like cameras in the Chipotle line, that kind of
big burritos,
like joking around with it and like making fun of the fact that, we did this, our bad. But now the CEO has said, we did not lower our portion size. You're welcome to fill your bowl.
He said, give him a nod. If you want more rice, just give him
a little nod. Here's my order. The guy eats like 8,000 calories a day, apparently, at Chipotle. So anyway,
In a way that actually is like a really good example, though, of I think what we're talking about with the church and social media, because it's like if there's now obviously there are certain complaints like criminal ones that should be handled with nuance. But like I said, there's times where like I love my pastor, but there's been things that it's like, oh, I don't know if I agreed with that. And like there's a variety of reasons why I may not agree with that. But like it would be really dumb of me to just go complain online when it's like, actually, I could have just like talked to her after church and like found her, you know what I mean? And that's the same with like this Chipotle stuff. It's like instead of just embarrassing this, minimum wage worker online, just tell them, hey, can you add more rice?
No, they added more rice, but they said there'd be $3. That was why people got mad. You want a double portion? Like, no, I just want you to do the normal portion. Anyway. All right, well, that'll do it for Relevant Buzz. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every day where we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between. Thanks, Emily. All right, stay tuned. Up next, Hulvey joins us.
That's why I gotta eat my salad. If you got beef with me, little bro, take it over my daddy. You gon' handle all my smoke. I'm just gonna let that go. Ain't got no time for that no more. Gotta see what he wrote. They be like, you that goat, but I can't play that role. Cause the only goat I know is the one who saved my soul. We too lit, we live. 407, 305. Too hot to walk outside. Soon as I step, I spit that fire. Burn your wings, you fly too high. Better go find your balance.
You're listening to Caleb Gordon. The song is We Live. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by John Mark Comer's book, Garden City, a book that speaks to the tension we all feel between work, rest, and purpose. The New York Times best-selling author John Mark Comer takes us to the scriptures to identify what it really means to be human and flips the script on the idea that who you are matters, not what you do. He shows that God created us for meaningful work and meaningful rest. Both matter. This book helps you ask and answer the big questions. Does God care where I work? Is there a direction for my life? So you can discern God's heart for your calling, your rhythms, and the way His Spirit wants to shape every part of your life. If you're longing for purpose and a more grounded way to live, check out the new hardcover edition of Garden City wherever books are sold. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting godthesciencetheevidence.com. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Erwin McManus's book, The Barbarian Way. Some books don't just inspire you, they confront you. The Barbarian Way, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, is one of those books. If you felt the pull of God towards something deeper and wilder than the safe, predictable version of faith that we settle for, McManus reminds us that following Jesus was never meant to be tame. It's meant to awaken courage, passion, and purpose God placed inside us. He draws from the wild stories of Abel, Noah, Moses, Rahab, and others to remind us that following God wasn't meant to be tame. Safe faith isn't working. Step into the story God is writing for you. Choose passion, choose boldness, choose The Barbarian Way. Available now, wherever books are sold. Well, our guest today is Hulvey. He's a rapper who we've been fans of for years, and he's really been blowing up recently. He's been dropping new music, including his latest Altar remix with Sierra. We talked to him about his new music, how things are shifting with Christian hip-hop, and what he's looking forward to the most. Here's Emily's conversation with Hulvey.
Well, your album coming out is the first one since 2021, and it just seems like a lot has changed for you over the last 3 years. Tell me a little bit about the journey that you've been on.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much. I could go for years probably about this, but it's been a lot of things. I mean, definitely the simple stuff, like I can't, like if I go in public, I need to understand that like however I represent myself could very well be literally seen by a fan. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't the case for me back in 3 years ago. And now that is the case. And sometimes I literally forget that. But like if there's a stressful day going on, like, hey, the way I represent Christ is going to be, there's a high chance they could be seen by somebody. You know what I mean? And so like just the everyday lifestyle of like fighting for him in the midst of stress, like, I feel like that's a difference than what I went through in 2021 because now people really are paying attention. If I go in the Chick-fil-A line, like, they're going to see how I act. Like, I wrote a song about it. Like, because, I mean, I literally went through that where I had a bad day one day and then boom, it was like, they saw that. They saw my attitude and I had to be honest with myself and like, man, I got to represent my God and my family better. And so, I think that just the level of like responsibility that I have over more people in my world has also changed. Like there's just more people involved. There's a far bigger team. Like I went from a team of a couple of people, to now there's like all types of people involved and people I've never even met. You know what I mean? And so there's just a responsibility to steward those business relationships in a way that is honoring and they understand that I have a lot going on, but learning how to honor them. I mean, and then I think one of the big things is just the responsibility I have to the fans that are listening, to provide them with music that they can like connect with God on and music that brings them hope. And they're not always going to agree with everything I do, but I just always want it to be pure-hearted, And so I think that responsibility's grown since 2021. So yeah, and there is just like everything that me and the team are doing is just naturally in the world's eyes, it's bigger. And so it's just bigger. And so when we're doing these bigger things, it's like I really strive to make it, I want to be tailored to who God made me to be. I don't want this to look like a carbon copy. Or when we step on stage, like when we do these big shows, I want people to see like what God's put in me. I don't want this to be, a version of somebody else. And so that's also been a huge thing. So like I said, I could go on forever, but I mean, it's just everything is different right now and that's okay.
can take rest, cause the living God is living in my chest. Every day I wake up feeling blessed, and even if I don't, I see it as a test.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the things I've noticed over the last few years, particularly with Christian hip hop, is it's just so much more known and mainstream now. At least that's what it seems like to me. I'm sure you've noticed it too. So I'd love to hear, why do you think it's shifting?
How could I not notice it? Oh my gosh. Goodness, how could I not notice it? Sierra just got on to Alta Remix. Like it's totally not where it was. And, I think that what I attribute to it is, I think that the TikTok movement, I think a lot of these Christian rappers put in a lot of work on TikTok, and guys that will never know their name, or you might know one day, but they attributed to this. You know what I mean? Because so many content creators started coming out as Christian. Like, these people are literally like, you know what? I love God. I'm going to make music for God. I'm going to put it on TikTok. And that stuff started blowing up. And there was so much of it that it became a trend. And now people are making memes about it, making fun of it because of how big it is. Like, you've never heard a Christian song like this before. Like, that is literally a movement now. And so I really attribute that TikTok movement. I also think that the culture is really tired. Like, they're really tired of the same message of just murder, and, they're tired of like watching people die. Like, rappers are constantly dying. And I think that people are just like wanting a breath of fresh air. And it's not just hip hop. I'm talking about the whole music industry. Like, a lot of the music recently it's just getting uninspired. And so I think people are like looking for life. And like, I'm noticing that like the brighter textures of music are starting to actually be the thing that people love to listen to. It's really wild. Like, like in the 2010s, I feel like there was a balance where it was like bright music and darker tones both kind of resonated. But now I'm seeing a whole nother thing. Like, it seems like people really desire music full of hope, And so I think that Christian hip hop started, guys like Caleb Gordon, Alex Jean, like, they started coming up and shocking people. And I think that people really wanted that. They wanted the music to be excellent, but also at the same time, be something that would reflect God. And so, yeah, I think it's definitely taken a whole new turn.
Throw his whole vape in the lakes, he's smooth, heal from the dark. I seen the spirit change my own heart. Can't tell it all, but this a good start.
Like we mentioned, you've got an album coming out, but in these next few weeks, you're also doing some festivals. You're going on tour with Brandon Lake and Phil Wickham. What are you looking forward to the most?
Goodness. For me, I think this new Baby Boy is what I'm most excited about. The other stuff is awesome, but it just, me and my wife, we already have one son, and just the joy that we get from that, it's just like, I can't wait to have that multiplied times two. So for me, I'm really looking forward to that. On the career side, like, I can't wait to hit the road with Brandon and Phil. It's going to be amazing. And from the times I have got to like connect with them, they've just been so genuine. And so looking forward to that. I'm honestly, overall, I think, I have an album coming out, and I think that's also really, like, for me, been something I just can't wait to just give people, because I put so much into it. So, yeah.
I put my hand on the Bible, the Lord is my witness, that KB is closer than blood. I got that HGA tatted right next to my heart, so it's gonna always be love. Don't need no contracts or labels, we got him a seat at my table.
That's so great to hear. You just, as a young dad, like, how do you find the balance between your career and your family?
Yeah, so recently there's been this concept that me and my wife have been operating on, and it's quality over quantity. Because of how much I've had going on career-wise. So it's like, when I'm home, I gotta be home. Like, I gotta really sit down with my son and just throw the ball with him if he wants to throw the ball, or watch a show with him, like, whatever it's gotta be, I wanna be there to do it. You know, even like the other day I had a show and I had to travel in a tight window, but he had Dads and Donuts that morning. So I literally chose to just make it tight and still go to his Dads and Donuts because I want to be there for that, you know? And so fighting for the quality of me and my son's relationship, and me, obviously, of course, me and my wife's relationship, fighting for the quality has been like the key for us, because we're aware that some of the quantity is not as much there right now based on just how busy things are, you know? And so, yeah, we've been really fighting for that. Hopefully that makes sense, but yeah.
Do you have any sort of tips on remaining focused on the things that really matter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would say like one thing you can really do is, I don't know, obviously how much of the audience is married or not, but I know for me, just really talking to my wife about what's going on in my world helps me remember, like, she honestly reminds me like, hey, like, you know, to keep the main thing, you know what I mean? And so being willing to have that like accountability with your spouse, I think really can like keep you grounded, because she'll let me know like if there's pride, or she'll let me know if there's, you know, if there's a lack of intentionality. Like she'll just let me know, be honest with me. And that really like helps me level up as a husband and a dad. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's been like a really simple thing. Like also mentorship, like my mentor was really heavy with me about how all this stuff is going to fade, but like my family, like I have to fight for them because they need me. You know what I mean? Like the world can get another artist, but like my family can't get another husband and dad. So, you know, yeah, just having those voices like in your life is how I summarize it. Having voices in your life to remind you what's important, you know? I was the table, he turned me. I felt a rush in the spirit. I broke through the line. I feel like Ty Gurley. Yeah, ain't no other spirits living in this temple. Well, I'm feeling like Shirley. I gotta be who I gotta be, made to be salt of the world, so I let him keep shaking me. I had no drip in my life, so he flavored me. That was Hulvey. Make sure to check out his remix of Altar featuring Sierra. It's available wherever you get your music. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback. You're listening to Balu Brigada. The song is So Cold, which none of us are right now, considering it's the hottest part of the year. Well, today's podcast is brought to you in part by the new book, Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic. Author Jonathan Seidel knows firsthand how even believers can get stuck in shame and destructive habits, especially when it comes to one of society's biggest obsessions, alcohol. In Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic, he details his spiral into disordered drinking and shares the 4-step process he eventually used to break free. There's hope for alcoholics who become Christians and for Christians who become alcoholics. Find Confessions of a Christian Alcoholic wherever books are sold. What if you could change a child's life with just $10? Right now, thousands of vulnerable children in East Africa are suffering from jiggers. It's a painful, preventable parasite that burrows into their feet. Soul Hope is the only organization treating it through foot washing, medical care, and durable closed-toed shoes that protect kids long after treatment. $10 may not seem like much in today's world, but when we come together, those small gifts add up to big change. Join the 10 for 10 campaign. $10 protects 10 small toes. Visit soulhope.org/10 to give now. One small gift makes a big difference. Again, that's Soulhope, SOLE, hope.org/TEN. All right, it's time for your feedback. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, last week we asked you for stories from your childhood where you got, you're playing summer break, you got time to kill, and you get into trouble, get into mischief.
and sometimes you get hurt. You don't want your parents to know. You shouldn't have been doing that thing. You hit us up on X at Relevant Podcast and on Instagram and told us your stories. Here are a few of our favorites. We're doing a part 2 because there's just too many of them.
There's so many.
There's so many. Also, I do want to say,
well, a bunch of these are from last week, left over from last week.
No, I understand.
So there's about 15 new ones that we grabbed, and then there's still like all the ones from last week. Anyway, go ahead.
Yes. No, I understand that. I just want to say, like, I was really surprised looking through there's quite a few people who had like fire incidents where they like almost burned down their house, or they did burn down their house. And I have to say, I grew up hearing from my father who did burn down half his house when he was a child, that like it was real. I always thought that was a crazy story. And now I'm like, oh, I guess that was just a thing people did. Was almost burned down their houses.
40% of homes in America are burned down by children. A lot of people don't know about that stat, but it's
children who have access to an aerosol hairspray can. Yeah. Lots of trouble.
Well, Timothy says, my friends and I tried to make a zip line between 2 trees in my backyard. It worked great until it didn't. R.I.P. Kevin. Oh,
he didn't. He just, I'm reading it. It says it worked great until it didn't. And he left it like hanging. Like, what? Well, tell us, when did it?
I know. That's why I added it, because I was like, as far as we know, no one perished, but it's certainly an ominous ending to that tweet.
No one perished. I love that.
That we know.
I got a good
of.
one right here. I got a good one because I've done this before. We jumped off the garage roof into a pile of leaves, misjudged the landing spot, and hit the ground hard. I tweaked my ankle and told my parents I was trying out for a school gymnastics team. I've been there. I did that.
Wait, in Miami, you had a pile of leaves? Or was it palm fronds?
So what we did was we jumped from the roof to the pool.
Yeah.
So, and then my mom was like, what happened? And I was telling her I did like a hip hop dance or something like that. And I was like, I think I was doing a hip hop dance class and it hurt.
I remember there was a shed constructed in my backyard one time when I was a teenager, and we had a swimming pool. And my dad, as the shed was going up, he told me and my brother, the first time anyone jumps off the shed into the swimming pool, we're filling the swimming pool. I promise you, the first day that shed was up, one of my friends did a sick gainer off of it. It was awesome.
Of course you're going to jump off of it. That's what it's there for.
It's very important. We had a slide in the back of my house, and we'd jump off the top of the slide into the – I mean, we were just nuts as kids.
Yeah, I live in a mid-century house, and it sat – unupdated. When we got it, it would look like a time capsule, and there's a pool in the back, and a big pool, like a 1960s huge pool. It looks like a community pool, and there was a slide and a diving board, but in Florida it's illegal to have them. You can't have a slide or a diving board anymore. You won't get home insurance. Oh, wow. So they couldn't sell the house to me.
Did you say Florida or Russia?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's an insurance issue. Like, it
is very true. We had to get rid of ours, actually.
So before they could sell the house to me, they had to chop down the slide. I was like, I wanted the slide. Anyway, they left the bolts for the 3 bolts that were coming out of the concrete. They left the bolts for the diving board. So I went on Amazon and just matched the bolt design or the hole design and bought a new diving board on Amazon and installed it myself.
Nice.
So I have a diving board, but I don't have a slide, unfortunately.
You realize that you've just incriminated yourself in case there's ever an insurance issue.
Yeah, you might need to edit this one out.
Either way. Frank Clark says,
just bleep out some words.
Frank Clark says, my friends and I tried to build a raft and sail down the river. It fell apart immediately. R.I.P.
Stop adding R.I.P.
Just keeps everything R.I.P. Kevin.
It's all of these are much darker if you add R.I.P. Kevin after everyone.
Yeah, of course.
Try it. Just pick one and try it. I dare you.
I built a zip line in the woods with some old rope. It snapped mid-ride and I fell on my back and it knocked the wind out of me. Like when you can't breathe and you think you're suffocating. I was certainly going to die and my friends freaked out and literally just ran off. R.I.P. Kevin. Wow. Dang. Dude, it does work. I got to be honest. Like the fortune cookie thing.
I did that as a kid too. I had the family friend. We were visiting family friends. They had younger kids and they had like a jungle gym in the back that had a zip line. And I was like 12. I was like too big for it. And I get out on the zip line and I launch off and it snagged. And so like the zip line stopped and like my body kept going and swung up flat. And I just fell flat on my back. Never had the wind.
How high were you?
I mean, a kid's it felt like 20 feet in the air, but I mean, like probably 6. I don't know. I'd never gotten the wind knocked out of me before. I remember to this day, I thought I was going to die. You could not get air. Like, it's terrifying.
Yeah. It's the worst feeling in the world.
Here's
monkey bars.
Here's one from Ethan. I decided to race down the hill in a shopping cart we found. Wiped out and got a few scratches, but nothing serious. My friend's cart went into the ditch. Left the carts there and walked home like nothing happened. R.I.P. Kevin.
Shut up with the R.I.P. You just walked home, left your friend there in the ditch.
There is one. Okay, wait. Wendy said, we dared each other to jump from the top of the playground slide to the monkey bars. I missed, landed hard, but just had bruises. That reminds me of this time in middle school. It's like probably one of my more formative memories. But there was a kid who he somehow slid in between. It wasn't monkey bars, but there was like 2 bars that there was like a little bit of a space in between and he was trying to jump in. His leg got caught in between it and it got stuck.
Ooh.
And I just remember the school nurse getting a tub of butter to slide his leg out. And this is so mean of us, but a lot of people did call him Butter Kid after that because it was just like, this is such a weird. I mean, it wasn't a good nickname. I'll say that.
Butters should be a lifelong. Like his wedding invitation should say Julie and Butters
for sure.
I mean, like,
yeah.
I assumed to him that was probably one of the most traumatic moments of his life because we all were standing around laughing and the teachers were like, guys, stop laughing. But it was like watching this kid just get Butters like slathered on his leg by the school nurse. That's tough to come back
like Kramer,
honestly.
Transfer.
You got to own it, man. You just got to own it.
We tried to make a rocket with a soda bottle and Mentos. Of course, it exploded and prematurely soaked us. Guess who died?
Shut up.
Oh my God.
Parenthetically, Kevin.
Died of
I like this
Coke.
one. Try to make a parachute out of bed sheets because I think that's something that I would think of as a kid. But they try to make a parachute out of bed sheets and jump off the shed roof. It didn't work, but it only sprained my ankle. My parents thought I twisted it in gym class. That's a funny one. Like just thinking sheets will parachute you like comic books.
I did it. I've told this story. I was in 4th grade. I did that with garbage bags. I thought garbage bags are much better than bed sheets.
Like the air shooting in it.
Dude, I plummeted. I was 8 years old. I told this story. We had gone snow skiing the year before when I was 7. I found the puffy overalls from the ski outfit and the ski boots because I thought I want to protect my ankles. And so I just, as an 8-year-old, I just plummet off the roof. Obviously the garbage bag did not inflate. And I just plummeted off the roof, but like at an angle. And so like the ski boots were like rigid, hard ones. And they like just crammed into my shins. And so I'm like rolling in the grass, unable to stand up, writhing in pain, screaming. My mom pulls in from going grocery shopping. She pulls in and her 8-year-old in the Florida summer is in a full snow outfit, screaming in pain on the side of the house. Yeah. This is what I do.
The worst suicide attempt I've ever seen. What was like your cause here?
Yeah.
Like,
and why the snowsuit?
Mom's like, I don't even know what you were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love Kid Logic because Kid Logic makes sense. It's like the snowsuit makes sense.
Yeah, it's like a protective layer. Yeah,
yeah, it makes sense.
I gotta ask, how many like bones have you guys broken as a child? Because like these stories make me think like you were just walking around in like
two in my life
all day.
Three in
my life. 3 in my life. 2 as a kid, 1 as an adult.
Yeah.
That's significantly less than I thought it was going to be.
3 bones. My nephew just rode his bike and broke his elbow. Like it's almost like a rite of passage.
Exactly.
Rite of passive at wait, hold on. Rite of What's the word?
Rite of
passage. I don't know why I could not say that word. Rite of passage. I was like all right. Anyway, it's a rite of passage, and all boys need to break something. Unfortunately, I look forward to seeing my son try. It means risk, no risk, no reward. Right. It just is a part of it.
That's right. No pain,
How are you going to catch sweet air on the BMX if you don't build a ramp out of plywood and bricks?
That's true.
To get
R.I.P. Kevin.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. There's more where that came from. You want to check out our replies. It's funny. All right. It's time for this week's
editorial question of the week.
Well, it's 4th of July week, and there's fireworks around. We're not going to go downtown with the masses. We're going to put on the epic neighborhood fireworks show. That's my mantra, right? I mean, so we're going down to the tent. We're spending all the money. We're going to be the huge show. Anyway, we want to know your fireworks stories. That's it. Times fireworks went sideways. Jesse and I in Montana, we bought so much illegal fireworks we couldn't even light it all off. So there was a bonfire going, or just a fire pit. So we threw all the extra ones into the fire pit, and they started shooting off like bottle rockets, just flying around. Whatever they shot into the garage, people were running for their lives. It was awesome. So like stuff like that. We want to know your fireworks stories.
Yeah. I want to get my uncle here. He lost his finger. True story in a firework.
Your uncle is the warning that we all get. You're going to lose a finger.
Literally, he was holding a firework, and it wasn't intentional. Like he was holding it and he was going to throw it, and something malfunctioned and it blew off his ring finger.
I would love to get him on.
Yeah. So as a kid, he would do this thing. As a kid, he would do this thing where he would be like, he would show his fingers like this. He'd be like, watch, and then slap it, and it'd be like his 3 fingers, and kids would be like, ah! And kids would freak out.
Like the old man who would do like the thumb separation thing
right here. Yeah. He would do it, but he'd do it for real. And my friends would be like,
Emily,
jarring.
if we can arrange that. And Cameron's like, we got a great show for you today. This week's guest is Marty's 9-fingered uncle coming up. Yeah.
It's our July 4th episode. Yeah.
His ring finger gone.
Yeah. All right. Well, hit us up on X at Relevant Podcast, or wherever you see us post this. We'll read our favorites on next week's show.
By the way, Marty's 9-fingered uncle is a great band name. If you were just say that casually, people are like, never heard of them, but they sound cool.
9-finger uncle. Yeah. It's perfect for 2010s era,
Love it. Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Hulvey for joining us today. Make sure to go check out all his music, including his new remix to the song Altar featuring Sierra. It's great. Also, if you like the show and you don't like the commercials, you can remove them by joining Relevant Plus. You get this podcast ad-free. You also get ad-free unlimited reading at relevantmagazine.com, a beautifully designed, enhanced digital magazine, and more. A lot of little subscriber extras. Go check it out. Relevant Plus information is at relevantmagazine.com. Starts as low as $2.50 a month. It's the best way to experience our content. All right, on that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Emily Brown.
I'm Marty.
We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
R.I.P. Kevin.
Relevant Podcast Network.
Holidays mean feasting. From cheddar biscuits to French toast bakes, Hero Bread has you covered with 0 to 5 grams net carb and high fiber options to ensure your holidays stay delicious and balanced. Like their 3 grams net carb pan au chocolat. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's FALL25 at hero.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains up to 17 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.